So here is the thing. Is this the beginning of the end of the royal family? If a government, look at it this way, just think about this. If a government suggested, let's say we had no royal family, and a government suggested that tomorrow we were going to start a royal family, how would you vote? Would you vote for it? To start a royal family from scratch? We all know the answer. I can't imagine anyone would. How would you sell it? We're going to select a random family, give them billions of pounds, 7 palaces and castles. They'll live for free. They'll get first-class lifestyles forever. They'll holiday in the world's most luxurious locations, and then their kids will inherit the whole thing and it will start over again. They will want for nothing, ever. In exchange, they'll wave the flag for the country, press the flesh with a few world leaders, hold some banquets. Oh, and they'll get paid for all of this, by the way. No one would vote for that, would they? Nobody would. Look, and I understand there is, of course, a big history here, and it's central to the backstory of this country. It's huge, it's lengthy, and it's utterly fascinating. And it's also about tradition, and I should add, tradition is not a notion which should be dismissed just because it's unconventional. But the story of the British royal family is checkered. It's affected law, religion, even life and death. Once upon a time, of course, they ruled, they decreed, sometimes even turning on their own. Chopping off the head of a troublesome royal was pretty standard stuff. But in the modern era, they have rightly lost those kind of influences and are now largely symbolic. But it's harder and harder to support their existence, much like the TV licence in that respect, actually. And we all know what we should do with that. This weekend, of course, we saw more revelations about the horrendous creature that is Prince Andrew. What a wrong-'un he is and always has been, frankly. The king has sort of half fired him from his remaining regal status, but he's still a prince. Of course, this was the absolute definition, this man. He was the epitome of the old-fashioned royal who believed their birthright brought them an impenetrable status and immunity from any kind of hassle or jip. And let's be honest, he's been up to his neck in it for years. The Epstein stuff is no surprise. Even his former wife, Fergie, was in on the act. Epstein was a squillionaire and therefore their kind of person. The fact that he was a child abuser on an industrial scale was of no relevance to them whatsoever. After all, history of the royal family hardly shows that morality and decency has been at the forefront of royal life. Now, King Charles has sort of stepped in, but the taste that is left is not good. And if you look at King Charles himself, and let's be brutally honest here, look, I know he's been through it and he's still getting over his cancer diagnosis, but he's never really been able to command or even equal the respect that his mother had. Queen Elizabeth was a class act, and when she died, that royal pie chart of popularity took a hit. So here we are in one of the most grubby chapters in recent royal history, and let's be honest, there's been a good few. Prince Andrew, I wonder, is he the catalyst? Is this the beginning of the end? Look, it's not going to happen in our lifetime, is it? They slim it down a little bit, but it's very, very hard, despite the fact that you might love elements of the royal family. When the Jubilee was on, and I've seen a couple of them, Queen Elizabeth Jubilees, you can think whatever you like about democracy and you wouldn't invent a royal family tomorrow, and if somebody did, you wouldn't vote for it, and everything I've just said. You can think about all of that, and then suddenly the Queen is on a flotilla going down the Thames. Madness are on the balcony that's lit up like a Union flag, singing songs. You've got every big leader from the world in attendance, horses galloping down the Mall. And when that happens, you couldn't fire me up anymore if you plugged me into a flipping socket. I mean, this is incredible stuff. It's the pomp, the ceremony. When Trump came over, the way we can lay that on, the regal backdrop, is kind of crucial to all of that. But ultimately, can you really justify it? And when you look at this chapter with Prince Andrew, my sense is that it goes way beyond just Prince Andrew. OK, you can bring Fergie. I mean, they even took his kids to see the child molester as well, for God's sake. I mean, what is wrong with these people? But it's not just about him. It's kind of symbolic of the rot that has set into so many tentacles of the royal system, if you like. It's not personal to Charles or Camilla or to William or Harry, but there is a rot in the system, and it's inevitable that once in a while you're going to have these moments. And I look at Andrew, and I mean, Epstein's just one of the many curious characters this fella's hung out with over the years. And that's just fine by him because he's royal. And I genuinely think everything you read about Prince Andrew will kind of tell you that there is a self-belief that it's his God-given right to be in that position. He believes he is better than you because he's royal. The fact that it was just a birth accident, if you want to look at it that way, is lost. I mean, these people roll like this, and there are many of them scattered around in the kind of branches of the royal family when you start looking at the trees and the cousins and all the other aspects of it. I mean, it's kind of extraordinary. I don't dispute that some of them work very hard. Princess Anne there's hardly a day when she's not doing something, planting a tree, visiting an organisation of some kind. That stuff carries weight, you know, for charities. That bit I think we all understand. But when you look at what is happening with Prince Andrew, as he still is, should we just call him Andrew, really, frankly? And he's been called many things over the years. When you look at that, and you look at the kind of the king's position as head of state, and whilst he seems like an all-right kind of bloke, I'd imagine it's probably a bit tricky to work for, but you sort of wonder, you know, did our kind of royal thing die when Queen Elizabeth II left us? Is this the beginning of the end for the royal family? 0344 499 1000. Let's get a word on this and the other big stories of the day. The journalist and Sun columnist Dave Wooding is back with us. Dave, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ian.
Always good to have you with us. I mean, this story just keeps on. I mean, almost by the day it is mounting. We know that he's now under police investigation for this allegation he requested personal data from on Virginia Giuffre, which breaches all kinds of rules and regulations, particularly if it was acted on by the police officer. This, of course, has cost him his titles. He's still a prince, but there's quite a lot going on there that, you know, he's never going to be opening a garden centre near you anytime soon, this fella. But of course, it's forced him out of royal life, essentially. His links to Epstein continue to draw a lot of scrutiny. Let's have a reminder of what he said on that now infamous Newsnight in Ford. Yeah, and that, Dave, doesn't seem to be ringing quite true at the moment.
No, and just looking at that clip, Ian, it reminds us that interview was given 6 years ago. So this scandal has been dragging on for a decade almost, and he's been hanging around like a bad smell of the royal family. And it's not surprising that the king has finally reached the end of his tether and thought, you've just got to go. I can remember sitting in the editor's chair week in, week out. Photographers would come up with a picture of Prince Andrew today, and I remember saying, well, what's the relevance of this picture? And they just say, well, it's Andrew and it's what he's doing. He's in trouble. And the focus on him was just incredible. Yeah. And that's because, well, we know now, 6 years on, that what he said in that interview were all mistruths. And the king rightly has said enough is enough. It's intolerable, I think was the word that was used here. Yeah. And either he went through a parliament, which was the difficult way of doing it, or he had to step down voluntarily. And I think it was, you know, jump before you're pushed. Yeah,
I think so. But it throws up the kind of wider question of royal relevance in so many respects. You know, I think King Charles is a hard-working man. He's, you know, been through his own health issues recently. I don't dispute that if you become the king, as opulent, as extravagant as it all sounds, you get, I mean, who else gets a crown and a throne? Apart from when, you know, you were in Fleet Street, Dave, you were revered in that kind of way, I seem to remember. But nonetheless, I'm sure there's a lot of pressures that come with the job. Today he's in Manchester. But there is that sense that since the Queen died, the whole royal thing doesn't quite seem to have the same comfortable fit that it did do.
Well, yes, Queen Elizabeth II was a massive figurehead. She was there through all our lives. She was the glue which held the royal family together. Yeah. And in fact, you know, when we've had other crises in the royal family. Let's not forget the divorce of then Prince Charles and Princess Diana of Wales. And we've had, you know, Andrew and Fergie, their breakup. We've had all sorts of things going wrong. in the annus horribilis, remember? But the Queen always seemed to keep it together, and she clearly ruled that lot with an iron rod. And now she's gone, it's all unravelling a little bit, and you can't help but feel a little sorry for King Charles. He waited so long to accede to the throne, and now he's got there. He's inherited a right old mess. Do you know what? It's a bit like when Alex Ferguson left Man United. They were winning everything. They were the top club, and then when he went, it just all went pear-shaped.
Yeah, I'm surprised you would mention Man United on a weekend like this, Dave. That was very brave of you, wasn't it? Let's talk about Harry Maguire. No, let's not do that. We'll come back to that story, of course. Let's talk about Labour and police commissioners, crime commissioners, publishing this curious pro-immigration fact sheet, Dave. This is 3 Labour police and crime commissioners. They've published a leaflet claiming that migrants contribute £341,000 each to public finances over their lifetime. I mean, this is such a muddled analysis of what they're... I'm pretty sure that if you look for the top brain surgeon or top IT consultant who came to this country from Australia or Pakistan or Canada, wherever, then you would be able to collate a figure such as that. The average Joe sailing over the channel who's not speaking much English and is invariably going to go, if at all, into a low-skilled profession, probably driving for a moody taxi company, minicab company, I don't imagine that figure could be applied to those people.
No, I mean, this seems to be an overzealous spin operation by the police and crime commissioners of Durham, Northumbria and Cleveland, who've teamed up with an organisation called the Northeast Migrant Party or something. Yeah. It's a migrant group, pro-migrant group. And they've come up with these figures saying that between the ages of 25 and 80, a migrant puts 350,000 or just under that into the economy. Well, this figure, OK, where did they get this figure from? One might ask, and we could probably read the report in full and see how they work out their maths. But similarly, the OBR, the Office for Budget Responsibility, the more respected government watchdog on finances, says that between that age and retirement age, the average migrant takes £150,000 out of the economy. So the two figures completely clash. And again, you know, they seem to be saying migrants are good for Britain. We don't have any problem with migrants, most of us. They keep getting this message wrong, Ian. They keep thinking that we're all against migration. We're not against migration. We're against uncontrolled migration, and we're against illegal migration. 100%. And the biggest migration that people are concerned about is the illegal migration, people arriving on boats. They keep going on about crime as well in this report, saying that, you know, only 12% of crime is committed by, 12% of those who commit crime are migrants. And that is the number of people who live in this country. So it's all proportionate. But hey, when you start looking at the illegal migrants who come over on boats, you've had 425 offences, including 4 rapes, 44 sexual assaults, and over 100 violent offences from these people. So it's not quite as simple as they're making out. And nobody's against migrants. Again, I'll reiterate that. It's illegal migration, people who cheat the system. We're not against asylum. We're against asylum cheats. And we want our migration control so we know who's coming in and going out.
And that's a fairly, I would say, a fairly intelligent way that a modern-day country would deal with this issue. And as you say, illegal migration, that's a whole other ballgame. But, of course, there's lots of it. And that's not really factored into these curious stats. You do hear them. I've heard Sadiq Khan actually parrot that same line before as well, Dave.
Yes. Well, I think what the pro-migrant groups seem to do is attack the wrong issue. Nobody's against migration. They seem to say, well, you're all against migration. We need migrants to come and work in the NHS, etc. Yes, we do. And we take them in, and we don't object to the migrants coming in to work in the NHS or anywhere else. What we object to is people cheating the system and the government having no grip on the issue. That's
100% correct. Listen, Dave, stay with us. We'll be back with more stories. Dave Wooding is with us, columnist at The Sun, Westminster journalist of decades of experience, knows his way around the political bloc more than almost any other.